optimized Genesis sequence.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being with us here in our presentation. Oh, no, not another chatbot, because honestly, I think we have seen a lot of sessions already on that. We also had a workshop on Tuesday with a chatbot. I will start here. I'm Sandra Ahlgrimm, Cloud Advocate for Java at Microsoft. You can find me on Twitter and on LinkedIn. I'm within the developer relations team. I work in the Java team with Julian Dubois and other great people. If you have developer feedback, find and reach me out. For the agenda for today, I will start with our community-first approach. So how we went with Java and why are we here, why do we think it's important, and what do we do for the community. And afterwards, I will explain a bit what we do for the AI community as well and what we make out of it. And then I'm here with my great colleagues who will then take over. They're with the field. They have all the customers almost every day, so they know how you can use AI in your business use case in the different industries. And I can't wait to hear that, especially so we save the most time for code and deploy samples. So we have some cool demo here. I actually can't wait to see that. So let's dive in. For our community engagement, you might have seen the slides before, but we also have some very recent updates. So we are part of the Eclipse Foundation, so we have the toolkit to improve and the developer experience as well. Also, we acquired GitHub, one of you might know, and they have a bunch of Java repositories also that are all hosted and free support and resources for Java devs there to be found. We have an own Microsoft build of OpenJDK. We fix, we enhance, we also always give it back to the community via the community process. And also, we have some extensions for Visual Studio Code. And as I've been reached out at the conference already, no, Microsoft is not caring for its own language server. We have the Red Hat language server, which is mainly used and part of our Microsoft package for Java on VS Code. We take care of all the others, like the debugger for Java, the test runner, the Maven, Project Manager, or Visual Studio IntelliCode. We are also founding member and Composer Jack contributor for Adoptium, as well as we support popular Java standards and projects, such as Jakarta-EE, Quarkus, Spring, obviously, so we are contributing there. We are also using Spring Cloud for Azure, and we have a bunch of managed services for Spring Boot, what we can showcase later, and this is also part of the demo. Since I think 1 or 2 years, we are an active member of the JCP process. So since we have quite some Java running, we might also find some fixes for the OpenJDK, and how you do that is via the JCP process to make sure we contribute back. And very recent, still to be announced, but already confirmed, we're going to be a member of the GraalVM Project Advisory Board, represented by me, which is kind of cool, and can't wait to go over there. And let's see if that's going to be the next iteration, or yeah, I think it's JVM and native images both have their time and place. So why are we doing this? So we are using a lot of Java. I already said that, so we have like 2.5 million, even more JVMs running in a production, and obviously we don't count in any customer JVMs here, it's only us. So we use it for LinkedIn, for Minecraft, Microsoft Bing, and also on Microsoft Azure. So we see things, especially on LinkedIn with that heavy users, we saw things, issues, and it's a bit easier if you're in control. And I think actually in terms of community, is always the more the better. So if we all contribute to OpenJDK, no matter how many contributors and companies are doing it, I think it's the best for the community to have more. And how do we start with Microsoft and AI? So we were actually one of the first and also biggest sponsors for OpenAI. So when that partnership started, like I think now 3 years ago, we also partnered with them, and we cycled that back into our projects, such as our various co-pilots. We have like, I don't know, more than 200. Well, actually, I know the exact number, but I'm not allowed. But anyhow, so more than 200. If you want to know more about, because it's a developer-focused thing, you can find us at the booths afterwards. Speaking of developers, we do have the Copilot integrations like GitHub Copilot Chat. That's potentially more used by developers. So who's using it? Whoop, whoop. Who's using any other AI coding assistant? Oh, okay, great. And yeah, it's not really a topic of this presentation, but again, find us at the booth. We will also have 2 from GitHub afterwards at the booth, so you can also ask questions. And Microsoft is also contributing to another projects and other initiatives, such as we have AI in Azure now with Copilot, and also we use AI for parts of our products, such as the advisor for price savings and others. Again, if you want to know more, find me at the booth. We have AI integrations into VS Code, not just the GitHub Chat Copilot, also others, as well as for IntelliJ Toolkit, where the GitHub Copilot Chat also works, and also in the Azure Toolkit, we have some AI things already integrated. So, as I said, we investing heavily in open source, also in large and small language models, such as Microsoft 5.3, which is open source, but we're also supporting various other models like Ollama or the ones on Hugging Face, Mistral, or the GitHub models. And why are we doing this? Well, when you're building an AI-infused app, I would always make sure that you test with a various bunch of models first, because you will realize that the output is not always what you want. And before you go in optimizing, make sure you already have a model that kind of fits your needs best from the start, right? And if you have to use multiple models, unfortunately, they don't have a standard. I know we Java developers, we're all up for standards, but they don't have it yet. So they're all different. Also, they're coming up new models every time, and also those APIs might still change, since not many of them are in release candidate or GA yet. And a common design pattern is the facade, where you have a wrapper in between your apps and LM APIs. So that obviously you can do alone. We've seen many customers doing it alone. Great. If you do it alone, you need to do it alone, right? If there's a new model you want to add, you're responsible. If there's an API changing on the model side, you are also responsible to fix that. But then at least you have only one thing to fix. But you could also just use the community-driven open source ones for Java, right? And there we have basically 3, which is semantic kernel for Java. It's like Microsoft product. It's a good fit for anyone using also .NET and Python in their company, so they can stick with one product for everything. Then there is obviously Spring AI, which is Spring only, but supported by the whole Spring team, which is great. Semantic kernel by Microsoft supports OpenAI and Azure OpenAI, where Spring AI supports OpenAI and Azure OpenAI plus 4 more models. And we also have LangChain4j. So whom of you have used any of those? Keep your hands up if it was LangChain4j. Okay, Spring AI. Semantic kernel for Java. Oh, 1, great, that's nice. So semantic LangChain4j actually supports already OpenAI and Azure OpenAI and 16 more, but actually it was there first, so they have a little bit of ahead time. Yeah, as I said, and LangChain4j started as a community-only project, now backed up with Red Hat, but also other companies are contributing like Google, AWS, and also Microsoft a lot. Adoption-wise, we see a lot more adoption with Spring AI and LangChain4j, where LangChain4j is a bit dominating, but it's a neck-and-neck race. So, and with that, I would like to know how our customers are using it, and I'm very excited because I'm totally into the real business use cases, also for different industries.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra.
Amazing. Hello, DevOps. It's great to be here. My name is Cedric, and I've brought some of my best friends, Pierre. We have a few things in common. We're both a solution architect, so we see a lot of our customers. And one of the things that we also share is like we build a lot of applications. We do a lot of open source. And if I have to look at this slide, then if you look a couple of decades ago, this really reminds me at the times that every application started to use like CSS, JavaScript, HTML, and also Flash. And the whole thing about this is that you had to use that to become a more modern company. And if you look today at Microsoft, but we also see at our customers, is that every app will start to use AI into it. And I'm also new applications, but maybe Pierre, what is your view on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Huh? We see I work 5 years in AI and big data, and 2 years at Microsoft. And we see every industry is starting to reinvent itself, not only with Gen AI, but you have also more traditional AI, like deep learning, reinforcement learning. You have a lot of techniques that are used in different industries, but we see with our customers, the whole industry is changing with AI. And like Sandra said, there is a huge amount of chatbot. We speak about Copilot, but we try also to see how we can infuse AI in our application. And then the idea, and this is the idea, that let's just take an application of everyday. Can you talk a bit more about it?
Yeah, so I think one of the nice things is that you have something to share, right? You're becoming a dad very soon.
True.
Can we have a big applause for Pierre? He has no idea what is going to happen. Like, there are a few things that we can already reveal for the people in the room. You might not have enough sleep. And I think your wife will need to start selling some of your crucial items, I think.
Like this one?
Yeah, so maybe you can tell what this is actually. This is your keyboard, but what is special about it?
It's a I'm a French speaking and I'm using Azure keyboard. This is only for software development. It's a QWERTY Keychron mechanical keyboard. Love it. I'm not going to sell it.
And it has like this special GitHub key.
Yeah.
But imagine that your wife, she probably wants to make some more room. Yeah, you need a lot of space for kids. And a lot of your toys might disappear. So what you can actually use is maybe like Facebook, Instagram, or just a public website like this. You upload a picture, you provide a title, description, all the categories, and Pierre's wife will actually spend a lot of time doing this, and he has a lot of stuff to sell.
And the good news, she's not going to spend the time to do it.
I think so as well.
But in the morning, I was discussing with Jorge, we're discussing together. Jorge is our AI lead, and he said, what if? And you know, when someone starts with what if, you know that it won't be a good day. And he said, what if we take the same application, we take the same picture, but instead of doing a form, we let AI fill a form for us. And this is what we are going to show you today.
That would be good. Like, can I try it?
Yeah, sure. Let me put it. Please.
So this is my AI shop. I have no text fields.
No.
So I think here I can find some of the pictures. Let's start with the keyboard. So sorry for that, but should be able to do this. One click, and now it's doing something. So let's see what it returns. So there's no need to go through all those text fields. And what it gives me, please help me, Pierre, if this is correct. It's a mechanical keyboard with custom keycap.
Yeah, true.
Oh, 45. I don't think you.
Well, it's mainly okay.
But it really, like, if you look at the keyboard, there's like different colors. This is a mechanical keyboard, mix of blue, white, gray, red. It's quite
good.
Quite good.
I'm looking also. Yeah, looks good. Let's try another one.
Let's try another one. So just refresh the page, use the console.
No.
I don't think you use that one anymore.
Sometimes, once every 5 years.
Seriously? Okay, let's try it. That's actually Sega Mirror. I never used it.
Oh, it's a very good one. Huh?
Okay.
You have Alter Beast on it.
Sega Mega Drive 2, 16-bit console. Looks impressive. 50 euros. It shows some signs of wear, so it can actually see that it has some scratches, maybe. Impressive.
What is the categories also?
Oh, yeah. So it even like not perfect, but still very close. This is most of the time I spend a lot of time looking for the right categories, like going through that route test. But how does this actually work? Can you show us?
Yeah, I will show a bit. Then, what have we done? Let's remove the what if. You already see the full picture. Then first we have UI that was done by my colleague here, Cedric, and then it's just calling an API gateway. And this API gateway we'll use for this small demo and sample on a Reka server to find a different service. Then the first thing, we have an image. And from this image, we extract a title, then a label. We extract a description, we extract a condition, a brand, a model, and also a price. And we are using Spring AI multimodal, then we are using Azure OpenAI GPT-4o for that. But the thing is, you need a URL. And then what we can do to store the image there, we have another service. And for this service, we are using the storage account and the blob storage to put the image in the storage. Then for security reason, we are getting what we call a SAS token. Then we are getting a URL with limited time permission on it.
So Pierre, can I just interrupt?
Yes.
So just to recap. So we had the UI, I uploaded your amazing keyboard. What it actually did, it stored it first on my storage account, you get a signed URL, and it's sent to the model, and it sends back all the descriptions and the titles.
Yes, and when we have this description, even if it's not completely always working, we are also, we infuse AI inside the service that was already there. That was our item category service. We use LangChain 4j and the Spring integration to a function calling. It's called tools in LangChain that is going to look in the database, then look in the repository, what are the different categories, and find the best categories based on the description created by the first service.
So if you look in the UI, and this is probably the most crucial step, is like you have your own business logic into your application, is how can you use AI to map it into your own data? And that's what's happening with those categories. When we uploaded the image, it selected the categories that actually was in our business logic. The AI decided for us. But maybe we can show a couple of other examples.
Let's do that.
Something more advanced. Same
Go ahead.
application. Thanks, Pierre.
And thanks for my wife for the picture, of course.
This one is tricky. So it's no longer a single thing that we would like to sell. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, we need to remove the slide.
Yes. Thank you.
And the image is still tricky, by the way.
So this is kind of a collection. It's more advanced. So different elements might be different prices as well. Let's see what it does. So we see, for example, Donkey Kong, Peach. My daughter would be very happy with that. So it finds like Nintendo MBO Super Mario Collection. So it was able to detect if that is a collection. And it's still like 150 euros.
Yeah, that's look okay.
It's okay.
Maybe okay.
So it found like Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Yoshi, Bowser, Donkey Kong, and the full list.
Yeah, and we are going to show you, there is no model train. There is, we did nothing. We just call an API with an image at the end.
Let's try another one, Pierre. My favorite, Game Boy Color.
Mm-hmm.
So you will sell all of them?
No. None of them. Maybe the one on the left.
So multiple versions, colors. Really curious what this one.
And multiple generation also.
Yeah. Console collection. Nintendo, various models. Yeah. 250. That looks like very cheap.
Yeah, it's quite cheap for that.
So it's a collection: Nintendo handheld, Game Boy Color, Advance, 2 Nintendo. So 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's missing one, but
yeah, the one on the corner I think is missing.
Imagine you have to train your own model for this. It's madness, right?
Still not taking too much time to change it.
But I'm kind of like, I think we can do better with the price.
Yeah, and it's something. I will let the slide like this, then I will not make mistake anymore. It's something we wanted to do. We didn't have time, unfortunately. But the thing is, at Microsoft, we are not linked to a framework. We are there also to help you to go in the cloud with any framework that you want to use. And our idea is, why not use a Quarkus microservice there with semantic kernel and to use Bing search that is searching the web to find different price and then to do a price range. Unfortunately, not enough time. We want to do it, it's still in the pipe, but it was the idea then. It can be Spring AI, it can be LangChain 4G, it can be semantic kernel. What is important is what we can do and how we can infuse AI in application.
So the whole point about this is that we might sell something, we do a public search, we find like other people that are selling the element, and we making an average price. That's basically the idea. So yeah, like let's show the people how it looks like.
Is it big enough? Yeah, I think so. The thing also that is amazing, this is Spring AI. This is the first service, is the AI image processing service. You don't need a huge amount of code. You need 3 lines, mainly. First line, you need options. Give you deployment, give what will be the response format. You have in the LLM temperature and top P. We try to have something that will be very precise there. And this is the shot option. The second thing, we need an image. Then we are going to do a media, a Spring media, with the image. Then it's a SAS blob. It's a blob URL with the SAS token that we receive. And the last thing is we just create a chat client. We said this is the system prompt, this is the user prompt, and this is the image. And we just ask to give back a JSON, and we serialize a JSON, 3 lines.
Impressive. So only 15 lines of code, you can actually get the output of the image.
And the system prompt also is not something completely crazy. It's just English. It's just you are an expert in the field of e-commerce. You've been asked to provide description of an item, and we just explain what we want to do have. And we give some example. LLM love example. And we just give, this is a schema. We can force the schema also, but we don't force the schema. We just say this is the way that you are going to give it back. And because we are using after a DTO and we are serializing in a DTO, if you don't give the schema, it's going to crash. And that's quite cool. And this is really what is transforming. And there are other things that are cool that I think you want to show, because you are a bit afraid with the shop.
No, I still remember the use case of Google, but they released their own image service and people can just put everything into the system. I think we should protect ourselves a bit.
And we just put that in the prompt. It's important to do content safety, to check after the answer, check also the input there. But just if you start with the prompt, I will let Cedric to show. You can do quite amazing things there already.
Okay, let's sell some freaking cool stuff. Let's see if it works.
That's not mine anymore. Then now I know the second one is mine.
All right. Let's start with something casual. Like we all love cooking. I want to sell the knife or maybe something else. Let's see what it does. But it's already tricky, right? Because you cannot do only good things with this kind of device. So it finds that it's a chef knife. It's unknown. We don't really see the brand. 25 euros, I think looks decent. But I can sell the knife. Yeah. Exactly. Let's try something else. Toy gun. I think it's a special one.
It's one that we bought where I was working for the banking sector. Every Friday we were doing a run-off battle with all the developers. Then yes, it's kind of special one. And it's my first one.
It's an Elite Disruptor Blaster. Amazing.
Yeah, we changed the dart because they're more precise. And I think
it hurts more.
I think you know that it's Elite dart. Normally the dart are blue, but the pink one is more precise.
90 feet, 27 meters.
Yeah.
Blue, white, orange, detect everything. Okay, but I can still sell this.
You can sell it. It's a toy.
Yeah. Okay, let's try something else.
That's not mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my wife one. No, I'm kidding. It's a pixel image.
Well, we should not sell this, right? Yeah. This item is restricted to sell. It's not allowed, model unknown, not allowed to sell, so no price. This item is a firearm which is restricted for sale and not legal to be sold on this platform. I think the prompt worked.
Yeah, and this is crazy because it's only a prompt. But after we have also everything about content safety that you need to put in place if you are doing this kind of thing. But already, when you do a prompt, think about that. It was we discussing with Sandra. She said, maybe we can sell a cat. And I said, oh, maybe an animal is not a law in Belgium because there are restrictions with the law. Then we were discussing about that, and it's where we start to change this prompt. And it's just English at the end. And in discussion, we are discussing in English. We just add more English inside to just change a bit the behavior. This is not really a cat.
This was the cat that you discussed with?
No, it was not a cat. But this one is beautiful. But no, I think it's a wild animal. I think it's completely forbidden. I hope it will not be sold on a platform.
So not allowed, wild animal. So this item is a wild animal. It's a lynx. Sale of wild animals is not allowed due to ethical, legal, and conservation reasons. We cannot do this. We cannot do this.
And a cat.
Yeah, the cat. It's so cute. Yeah, this one.
Sandra, we tried to find a picture of your cat, but it didn't find. And we find another one that's as cute as your cat.
So it's a sleeping kitten. Cannot sell this as well due to ethical and legal considerations. It looks like it works.
Yeah, I think it works.
So we have this application. How do we get it to the cloud?
That's a good question. Let me go back to this slide. Then this is a functional view in a way. This is our application and microservice, what you are going to run locally, that you can run everywhere. And I'm quite a fan. I help on the landings and accelerator on that one. It's called Container Apps. Container Apps, I always say, is a managed Kubernetes. It's a serverless container platform. And what is cool is that it's exactly the same as a functional view, because I don't care about the infrastructure behind this. What I care about is about my microservice, my application. And then the same way I add my functional view here with my different service, I'm going to deploy in Azure using Container Apps. Then I have exactly the same. I have my UI, my API gateway, I have my 3 microservices there, I have an Eureka server, then there are what we call service or component that we can add. No, it's a managed component. I'm not starting the Eureka server. This is managed inside the Container Apps environment. I just say deploy the Eureka server, it will deploy the Eureka server. I have also a Spring Boot admin there to have some metrics about my application. And then I'm using Microsoft Entra ID. Every application, then every Container Apps application has its own identity in Entra ID. Then it's using the identity to access a key vault, a storage account, or Azure OpenAI. I don't need to manage password. I don't need to manage secrets. For LangChain, I need a key for the API, for the version that we are using at that time, but we are not going to put the key in the secret of the Container Apps. We give the right to the identity of the item category service to access the key vault, and it's going to get the key from the key vault. Then if I change the key in the key vault, it will change the Container Apps also.
So, Pierre, just a question, because I'm a huge fan of Kubernetes. If I have to deploy this in Kubernetes, like I can imagine like the Eureka server, Spring Boot admin, these are services that I can deploy. Why should I go with Azure Container Apps and not Kubernetes?
For me, it depends. I would go to Container Apps if you don't need to access the underlayer of Kubernetes and the API, because you don't have access to the API of Kubernetes here. But if you want really to focus on your application, and you don't want to manage Eureka server, all the extension that you can have, and you don't want to manage the Kubernetes itself, you can go with Container Apps. The focus is completely different. When you focus is about more pods and service in Container Apps and deployment, here your focus is really one microservice, one container app.
Yeah, it's really on the application that you will focus.
Then let me show you a bit. First, we completely screw up. We forget to put a QR code, and everything that we are showing there, the code and everything, the deployment script, everything is open source and everything is available. Then come over to Reboot. We will try to give you the URL there. But let me show you
the platform, yeah.
What we have done. We have an extensive README here that you can use to run it locally or to run it in the cloud. We explain what we deploy and how also to deploy. We have a script to deploy it. And the script is 3 things. The first thing, we create a resource group. Then the resource group is a container in Azure. And we create a container registry. It's like it's really like a Docker registry that you are going to put your image inside. And first, we need the image, because a container app is linked to an image. The second step, we build the image, we push in the container registry. And the first step, which is deploy the infrastructure. Then 3 simple steps there. There is a full documentation. Then we have this script to go fast there. And we have a full bicep. I will not go through everything, but you have a full bicep. This is the visualization. Then infrastructure as code. We have two biceps, one for the container registry and one for the rest of the infrastructure, that is deploying everything. And is also deploying the Eureka server and also the administration server, the Spring admin. Everything is done at once. And the last thing that we do after is we can taint a container app with Java runtime, and we can have access to metrics directly in the portal about the JVM. They are integrated inside Azure now and with container apps.
So just to recap, if the people in the room wants to replicate the demonstration, they can go to the GitHub repo and you can actually use this infrastructure as code to deploy this.
Let me try to have it.
Can we then afterwards maybe look in the Azure portal, like how it's deployed?
This is the repo, Azure sample Java AI. Yeah, let's go inside. And what I have here, I have my resource group, I have my UI, I have all my container apps. Let me remove this. I have Azure OpenAI that is deployed with the deployment GPT-4o. I have all my container apps, and my container apps are in a container app environment. This is like a boundary for my application. I have my container registry to push my image, the key vault, monitoring, and then the storage that we use to push the image. And we have also managed identity to be able for the container apps to pull image. And everything works with identity there.
So Pierre, like the script that you've used, it automatically deployed it on Azure Resource Group.
Yes.
And then I have a question, like you've showed those managed services like the Eureka, like where can I find this? Because I don't see them in the list.
Then if you go there, you have here the container apps environment. And when you go to the container apps environment, you have an amount of service. Right. And you have some Java component, and this Java component, like Eureka, the only thing is to deploy it, and after it's creating a server for you, is putting authentication on it, and you need just to bind your container apps there. And what is interesting is that you have the Kubernetes service discovery, the name service discovery that is still there. You can use Dapper, and for Spring you can also use Eureka. Then you are going to bind what you want to bind. If you want to put Dapper next to it, you can put Dapper next to it. If you want to use Kubernetes, it's out of the box there. And if you want to bind to a Eureka server, you can also bind to a Eureka server. And then you have, it's not something different than what was in Spring Cloud. This is just an Eureka server there, but you don't need to manage it. You need just to click on a button or deploy the bicep, and it will be there. The second one that I have is a Spring admin, where I have all my service there. Network connection failed. That's interesting. I need to log in. Yeah, they're also secure. If you log in, now everybody can access. Okay, I don't need. And you can really go to your different service there, and it's a Spring Boot admin. There is nothing new. But you can access your thread dump, for example. You can access your mapping. Then it's adding actuator. The only thing that you add is a dependency in your POM. You don't do anything else. A bit of configuration, but like 2 lines of configuration. And then you have access to all these metrics there. And just a deployment. There is no configuration. Big configuration to do is out of the box with Azure Container apps. And it's not all. Then if you go to container apps, like I go to my API gateway here, there are several things interesting. Then you have the log stream. That's for everything you can access to your log. There is a log stream that you can access with all your log. I should be authorized, but I'm not authorized because I need to log again.
So the interesting part is that I'm not responsible for that Eureka. So it's really focused on the application.
Then the log stream is a stream of all of the log. Then if you have a sidecar, it will be the sidecar. You have the log of the system, and everything that is standard out and standard error will be there in the log. But this is not only about the log. You have also some metrics that are added there. Then if you put you change the runtime to Java, then you are going to have access to the Java metrics. And the Java metrics is like, I want to have the memory use, I can have the average and the count, and all these metrics are integrated now in Azure Container apps. And I think the thing important is, I have access to all this, I didn't configure anything, I just deploy the way that I deploy, And it's exactly the same way that I was running on-prem. The only thing is I don't need to run an Eureka server. I don't need to run an instance of Spring admin, because there are components for that. There are components also for Spring configuration. There are things coming for also Quarkus that should come. But all this integration is there, out of the box. I don't need to change my code. I'm just moving the things to the cloud.
All right. Is there something else? I just want to sell one more thing.
I know.
It's your ultimate item. The Death Star. Ooh.
Yeah, but I will not sell that one also. I will do Duplo, but not my Lego.
It's so interesting, yeah. Yeah, now that you have a little kid, yeah, it will be Duplo indeed. So that's our 450. Looks nice, looks nice.
No, it's too low.
But I've seen in the architecture, like the pricing estimator was kind of missing still. Or
Yeah, it's still missing in the architecture, and the same way that we have done the functional architecture. We also can add the service in container apps. And when it's interesting, when you functional architecture, you put Quarkus or Spring, but container apps is a bit agnostic of that. The only thing that you're going to add is another container apps. And then you maybe in API gateway, you're going to use a REST template to call the service by name using the Kubernetes service discovery, then add container apps service discovery. And you are going to give access to Bing search in Azure and to Azure OpenAI, but it's still a container app there. Then it's something you want to do. One thing interesting also there, and maybe the last thing that we want to say, is all this component about and all this monitoring and metrics and diagnostic that is there is currently GA, and then you can use it already, and everything is there. And Sandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Please stay with me as we go very soon to the Q&A. Yeah, thanks again for the Java on ACA showcase. And yeah, as you said, we also wanted to have the Quarkus one integrated, but as we have to do something, it takes a bit of work on our engineering side with the product teams, but we'll get there. So make sure you start the repository later so you will be informed once it's there already. We also have other services on Azure for Java, so it's not just what we showcased. As you already mentioned, there's the Azure Kubernetes service. We also have Azure Red Hat OpenShift or App Service, or we go serverless with Azure Functions. By the way, we also have like Azure Functions running on Azure Container apps nowadays, but yeah. And then we have all the tool sets for developer experience, for monitoring, for the API service automation and databases, everything you can think of, also the Oracle database. Then we have our AI services, such as Azure OpenAI and a few more. Again, if you want to talk more about it, find us at the booth. We do have the Java on Azure Container apps, as you have heard already. Yeah, what I like the most is usually it integrates so well with everything I'm doing nowadays. So like I'm a huge fan of native. They scale down to 0. It's actually also good for this app, because whenever you want to sell something, like I have also, I don't know who has not this seller with all the things you actually don't need, but you still have, and then you never use it, so just go there. And I also didn't want to bother with like filling out everything. So it's actually cool, but it can only scale up when I'm using it, and it can scale to 0 if I don't use it, because if there's no users, let's not keep it running, right? And in this particular case, I would be fine with waiting a bit for getting it up again, but with container apps, it will be there in like seconds to milliseconds, so you actually not realize that this service was scaled down to 0, which is pretty cool. Then I like the managed Java components. We have seen a few, just as you showcased, and I think you explained already very well, like the gateway, and especially the Spring config. I think that was also something we were discussing of implementing, so there are a few things that might change for this app. Like maybe you realize a different model would be a better case, so you maybe want to change that in your app. And you can do that on the fly if you use the Spring config. That was something you described or you explained to me, and I found this great.
Yeah. And the good thing is open source, and if you want to contribute to it, you can contribute to it. There is a contributing guide, and you are all welcome to contribute to it, of course.
Obviously, yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's actually cool. Support different kinds of application. I mean, it's Kubernetes under the hood, so obviously you can just go there with everything. We also have built-in DevOps, so you can actually, from the portal, create your DevOps pipeline, like GitHub Actions from it, which is also pretty cool and nice to start with. Yeah, so we have a little bit. So we do have a survey. So if you want to contribute in us doing our way with Java, you can fill that out. And with that, I would say we have a bit time left for Q&A. So who has the best question? Oh, just one question. Any questions? Spring AI, LangChain4j. I see you.
There's one question there. Yeah.
Where? Show me your hand. Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, it's really good to see LangChain4j doing good things on AI sphere, because everywhere is Python, and as Java developers, we are really having hard times to find good tools. So in this DevOps, I'm really happy to see LangChain4j evolving. And I would like to ask a specific question regarding the demo. When API gateway makes a call to blob storage and image processing service, I see it's parallel, but it is really parallel, or first save the image to the blob container and then process servers, image process servers make use of that reference? I'm just a little bit confused there.
Yeah, no worries. I forget a part of the presentation. In the API gateway is really an orchestrator. Then the first thing that we do is we get this multi-part form data, then this image, and we store it in a blob storage. The second thing that we do is to get the SAS token, and then we create the URL with the SAS token, and we give user delegation, a read permission for 500 seconds only, then it goes after. And then we use the AI image processing service. We give the SAS token to get the description, and then we get the category. And LangChain4j didn't show it, and yeah, it's a very cool integration also. And how it works, the only thing of LangChain4j that I have here is one call, is categorize, and I have a prompt. I'm just adding things in the prompt. I will show you. And I have no code. This is my assistant. I just said this is my system message, no code. Then I had all my repo is, I'm an architect today, I was a developer. When I was a developer, I was lazy. Now I'm an architect, and even more lazy. Then less code, I'm happy. Then I have here I'm using Spring Data GPA, then no code also. And for the tools, then one is trying to get the category. I have no code mainly. What I'm using is, I'm not giving access to the database, of course. I'm just using my repository. And I'm just here with a component with that's called the assistant tools, and I'm just adding tools and just explaining what the tool is doing. And then it's up to what it's going to do after it's grounding the prompt. And I don't need to put anything about this tool in the prompt, because it will know that this tool exists. And that is quite cool, because I have really no implementation with this LangChain4j. Then for the prompt, as you see, this is the user prompt. This is where I have this template, because I'm injecting the label, the brand, the model, and description. And this is the system prompt. I'm not talking about the tool. And the tool are using all the repo, then for the category, subcategory, anything like this. Then you can really, it's also to show how you can integrate something like a category service that you have already, you can infuse with AI. And you can add something with AI without needing to re-implement everything. And that, I think, is quite cool. I hope it answers your question.
Great question. Anything else we might have forgotten, or a question of yours? Okay. I think you have 6 minutes left. So do you want to show the GitHub repository maybe? So people can find it. It's actually not that hard to find.
I can even do a QR code, certainly.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. So I like that I can use for semantic kernel for Java and for LangChain4j any Java frameworks, right? It's vanilla Java. It works if you want, also just with plain Java, but obviously you might want to use frameworks such as Spring Boot or LangChain4j, Jakarta-E, Micronaut, whatever. Yep, that's cool. I mean, Spring AI is also great. We don't take sides here, right? So we're just happy when you end up in our cloud and using Azure OpenAI. So yeah, that's again. Great, that's the QR code. You can also just make it bigger, maybe. Oh, sorry. Oh, well, that's big.
Too big. Too big, too small. Can you? I don't think it's a bit blurry. Is it working?
I think so. Is it working? It's good. Wonderful. Yeah, so make sure to start that to see our upcoming semantic kernel service. And yeah, if you have feedback, if you want to collaborate, sure, it's all open source. We would be happy to see that. Also, if there are some LangChain4j experts, Spring AI experts, and you think you can even tweak it more, sure, go ahead. We would look forward to it.
And if you want to play with the application, you can come to the booth until 3:30, 4 o'clock. We will be there.
We might also create another QR code for you to play with the app, maybe just for today.
Yeah, it's in my subscription.
Yeah, okay, we do it in the booth then.
We'll do in the booth.
Okay, and with that, we give you 4 minutes left. Thank you all for showing up. It was amazing to have you as a crowd. And thanks again, Cedric and Pierre, who've done the main job on the technical part.
All systems are nominal. Initialize Genesis sequence.